Welcome everybody back to my channel. I'm Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, and today you're going to go on a flight with me in the brand new early access version of X-Plane 12. It's been quite a while since I've been back. I've been around here. I've been doing any kind of content. So let's cover that first as I attempt to start up this aircraft with about a year of not even being in any kind of a flight sim behind me. Oh God, it must be more than that. Anyway, I've had so many opportunities at work that I have been overworking myself for the last year. It's really taken away a lot of that time that I would dedicate towards creating the content that I release on YouTube. And before that, it was waning nonetheless because there was still more work that I was doing before that when you look at it relatively to what I was doing the year before that. So over the last few years, the workload that I've been taking on has been increasing somewhat, and my time at home I've been spending relaxing, going for walks, and also playing games like survival games and building games that really just didn't take a lot of time for me to get into. Well, something's changing. Not getting less workload. I've just gone through a evolution in the way that I do my job. And I'm really starting to get a hang of prioritization and time management and everything else that's making my life easier these days. And with all this extra time, it's not really a lot of extra time, but it's enough for me to sit down and do content. Today, I'm at my airport that's close to where I live. We are at Cobb County International, and you've seen me fly from here before. Normally when I go into a brand new sim, I would start off in my old stomping grounds, Long Island. And I'll start off at ISP, which is Islip MacArthur, and usually fly out to Suffolk County Community or Suffolk County Airport. It's just KFOK. I think they call it Gabreski. And I really didn't feel like that was the right thing for me to do because I've been away from New York for so long and I know this area a little bit better. So we're going to fly up to Chattanooga today, and we're going to do it in a way where we're not going to be super realistic in the way that we approach starting up the aircraft or flying. We are going to just do a very leisurely flight so I could talk about where I'm going to take the channel over the next 6 months. And then in 6 months, I'll update you how we're going to start expanding that over the next year. But I need 6 months to get back into it because there's a lot of things that I have to change. And one of those is diversifying the content that's on here, because having a channel dedicated to just Star Citizen and dropping in little tidbits from time to time really hasn't made my channel match the vision that's in my mind. Star Citizen is still something that I have a love for, but it's very difficult to keep reporting on a game that's been in development for 9 years with a dartboard that keeps on moving from one area of development to another. So when I'm talking about things 5 years ago, they very quickly became irrelevant. And then little by little, I started looking at, wow, look at that scene. I just want you to look at that scene over there as I repurpose what I'm talking about, which is X-Plane 12. That is some of the most beautiful atmosphere I've seen in a game in a while. And I know a lot of you play Flight Sim and you could probably get something that looks as good. But I just, that looks so realistic to me. I love it. Anyway, oh wow, look, it even looks good from the inside. All right, I'm sold on X-Plane 12 right now. I just want to finish out the Star Citizen conversation just by saying there'll be content here. And there'll be content, a lot of it will be less salty than it was getting in the end. And most of it will be centered around new features that are coming into the game. And I'm also going to do a gameplay element to whatever I do. Because trying to give you the news when the news changes from week to week, from month to month, from year to year is just not going to work anymore, because I've lost confidence that what I tell you is actually going to come to fruition. But I am confident the game is going to come out. It's just going to come out in kind of a winding road. If you've ever watched The Good Place, I think the development path of Star Citizen follows a line that looks like Jeremy Bearimy. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, here we are. We're going to start looking at the different things that I have to do over here, making sure that I have the landing light on, the taxi light off, going through all the prep work to getting this aircraft in the air. Now, this is one of the sceneries I've done. I did the scenery for this airport, and some very skilled people came through after I put down the foundation of it and have made it look even better. And this airport is in flux because it is being upgraded each year, and eventually there's going to be a lot more hangar space on here, a new south ramp, there's going to be a longer runway up to 7,500 feet. This is going to be a major feeder airport. No, it's not going to be a commercial airport. It's going to be a FedEx airport, I believe, because there's a FedEx down on the southwest side of the field. Something about the textures in this game just looks so much better, and the lighting seems to be a lot better than what I see inside of Flight Sim. Wow, this is so good. So, airspeed's alive. Wait for that 55. Here it is. Rotate. Cool, we're up in the air and on our way to Chattanooga. So now I'm going to talk about the X-Plane versus Flight Sim thing and say I'm not going to go there. I play both, I like both, and both have a different purpose. I think the scenery in Flight Sim right now is what sells a lot of people on it, and the fact that there's just many people that have been in the Flight Sim franchise forever. I don't want to change their mind. I think that Flight Sim is a great game, and I think we need both of these sims because they push different elements of the genre forward. And with other flight sims like DCS World, you actually have combat, and I believe there's other flight sims that are coming up too. But the competition in this genre is making us happy as people that like to use the flight sims for both entertainment and training, because we keep getting huge advancements now over the last 5 years in the flight sims that we fly. Now, why do I choose X-Plane? It's very minor. I have a beast of a computer and a backup that I use for playing games or doing my flight sims. And they're both AMD based. One's a 5900, one's a 5800. They both have good graphic cards in it. One's a 6800 XT, the other one's a 5700 XT. So one's very decent and the other one's really good. And I could play this game literally as smooth as glass right now. Now, we do not have settings maximized because when I do my videos, you're up in the air. Having that graphics at ultimate really doesn't change what you see when you're flying at 5,000 feet. Having it at high or semi-high, it seems to be a good mix. I'm looking for that buttery smooth flight sim experience when I do my videos, and that's what I'm giving you here. Now, my intention in these videos is to pit them against one another, but not to say one's better than the other, but just to get a gist of how I like flying the two. X-Plane I like a little bit more, and I've been alluding to this, and I keep pulling back from telling you why. It's because my other computers are Macs. When I go on the road, I have a Mac with me. When I sit in my bedroom and I do my videos, I have a Mac with me, and X-Plane works natively on a Mac. It might not be as buttery smooth as it is on my PC, but it's good enough. On my M1 iMac with 16 gigs of RAM, it's decent. On my M1 Pro 14-inch Mac with 32 gigs of RAM, it's good. I like it. It's nowhere near what I'm looking at here, but it's worthy of my attention and worthy of my time to use it to play. Austin Meyer always does make a Mac version, and he's embracing some of the newer technologies that are in the Mac, like Metal 3, that's coming out with Ventura. So I'm pretty happy. So the flights that I'm going to make a flight today up to Chattanooga in the Cessna 172 stock with no add-ons whatsoever inside of X-Plane. Then I'm going to do the same thing in a video in a couple of days inside of Flight Sim. I'm not comparing them to say one's better than the other. It's just let's see what the differences are. And that's it, because I know that they're both going to be excellent and there will be some differences. Now, one thing I really love in here is the operation of the G1000. It is picture perfect. Well, I'm sure there are some differences to the real one, and I only have a couple of hours of use on a real one. But I find this to be a very capable implementation of the G1000, if not as close to the fidelity of a real one as you can get. I don't have my Navigraph data set up, so I don't know how out of date the data is that's in here. We're flying a 3-leg flight to GPS waypoints and then off to Chattanooga. We'll be breaking lots of regulations. We're flying off to the east at 4,000 feet, and when we go off to the west, we're going to stay at 4,000 feet. Like I said, I just want to have a nice leisurely flight. I'm going to play a little bit with the new ATC, but I'm not going to get too deep into it because honestly, I don't think it's worthy of an introduction video and a I'm coming back video. I am going to time skip a little bit and start looking outside at the environment again. I think that one of the coolest things here is that the clouds actually look very realistic to me. I've made this flight quite a number of times, and I can't tell you how accurate this looks to what I've seen in the past. Atlanta is kind of a bubble, and there's always seems to be clouds in the fall and the spring off in the distance, and I'm flying in realistic weather with realistic time, with the weather being updated as quickly as it can be updated. I think that's every 5 minutes. And I love this exhaust trail right here. Like the exhaust trail that's coming off the back looks really cool. The prop looks okay, the prop lamp. And for a stock aircraft, it does look very nice, though I know that there are some of the makers of aircraft for X-Plane and Flight Sim make incredibly detailed, beautiful looking aircraft, like Coronado, and then you have to buy the reality expansions for them to make them actually fly like the real thing. But I'm kind of sold on this. I'm liking it. Now, we're not going to stay low and slow for the whole time I do my Flight Sim videos. We're going to work our way up. There's brand new aircraft in here that I'm hoping a reality expansion pack will come out for, like the Citation X, and I'd love to jump into that and see how that flies also. Now, when I start flying, I do own quite a number of the Orbix sceneries. I hope that they're going to be easily upgraded for X-Plane 12, and I'm going to start installing them as we start moving through the different videos that I'll be doing for X-Plane. And also for Flight Sim. I bought some for Flight Sim, too. I like the hand-crafted sceneries that give you like realistic looking landmarks. I think that's great. I think Microsoft does a great job with the visuals that you get, but some of them look odd at times because of the perspective that the game is actually presenting them to you on. I am going to time jump a lot in this one because I'm feeling like I need to. Right? It's just something I need to do. And what I'm seeing over here is a very realistic view of what I see on this flight when I take it. I like that even down here we have that. Now, going through the different elements of the ATC, it's not exactly what you have inside of Flight Sim. It's a little bit different. I love the fact that there's auto readback. That way I don't have to fumble for a button on my joystick or my throttle to try to read back the transmission. What I don't know is if you could pick up a VFR flight in flight. I know that you can request flight following, but I don't see where I can request flight following along the way. I'm wondering if I have to create a flight plan. Now, I did not create a flight plan in this one. I did not want to have the burden of having to know how their ATC works to do my first video. I think that's something that is definitely going to come in one of my next videos, because I really want to investigate that, because ATC is one of my favorite parts of Flight Sim. I love the fact that I could just pick up a controlled flight anytime I want, anywhere I am, and I can have that controller get me back to the airport that I'm trying to find. I think that's amazing. I love that you're starting to see that implemented in X-Plane. Now, the flight took me about 58 minutes, and to do a 58-minute video the first one I'm back is not something I want to do. So I am going to jump around from time to time, especially right now. When I made this flight, I found that there were a lot of skills that I had neglected. I hadn't written down any of the frequencies. Now, I did have Garmin Pilot running and connected to the sim at this time. And I know, yeah, I'm using Garmin Pilot, but it's the tool that I chose to use. Some of you are all going to like ForeFlight. Maybe 1 out of 10 of you, like me, are going to enjoy Garmin Pilot. One of the reasons I got Garmin Pilot is when I was going back for flight training, it was easy for me to write the flight plan inside of Garmin Pilot and then Bluetooth it over to the Garmin systems in the aircraft I was flying. It was easy enough. And in retrospect, ForeFlight probably does exactly the same thing, but it was what I ordered at the same, at that time. And at the time, Garmin Pilot was less expensive, and I'd already spent $6,000 going back to learn how to fly. Well, not learn how to fly, but to get checked out in flying and get a bunch of hours again. So I'm still here looking at the ATC as I'm getting close to level field, and I do not see any way for me to actually say, hey Level, this is me, I'm 5 miles out, I'm 10 miles out inbound for landing with information Juliet. I don't have that, right? 10 miles over blank, I can't say that. So it might be something that as development continues on X-Plane 12 that they add in, but it's not something that I see there. And if you know how to get there, please leave a comment below. Because for people that like to fly VFR, I think that would be fun. Though about 90% of the flights that I fly in the future are going to be, they're going to be an infrared, they're going to be instrument flights, right? That's what I'm going to be doing, because I'm going to be flying a little bit higher, a little bit faster, a little bit farther, and they're going to have to be IFR flights. So I think that's going to be something that will put the ATC to test. And I think it will probably be 2 to 3 videos before we get there, because I really want to get familiar with the sim, get all my plugins reinstalled, get X camera in there so I can get my cameras all situated and working again, so we could have much better views in my videos, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And of course, I pulled Austin Myers' bobblehead out of the glove box and put him on the dash. We are 10 miles out, dropping down to 2,500 feet with the intention of getting down to 1,700 feet. I think pattern altitude, or I should say the airfield altitude is somewhere between 635 and 685 feet. I can't remember offhand. So 1,100 feet above the base number is going to be about 1,700. Yeah, that's where we're going to be. 1,700 feet. That puts us just within about 1,000 feet above the airfield, and we'll be able to make a smooth approach. Temperature 17. I'm going to tell you this right now. This is my first landing, my first approach in this sim in a while. And I want to talk a little bit about like the different things that I found here. I find the the flight model just to be ever so slightly tuned, like maybe a little bit better. The engine modeling I find still very good. I really want to get SimCoder's reality expansion pack on this aircraft again and see how it worked, because the upgrades that they put into this aircraft make it fly as close to the real one as possible. And of course, I want to get the brand new Airfoil Labs new Cessna 172 as soon as I can. I already own the old 172, and I believe I own the King Air.
Visibility 4 miles. Sky clear.
Yeah, I think I own both of those, and they'll probably make it in here, as will multitudes of other aircraft I own and will purchase over the next few months. So I see the airport, I see runway 33 over there, and looks like we're going to be landing on runway 2. So that's 33 over there, 2 is that long one over there. So you can see the threshold of 33. So I should turn off to the west a little bit at some point. So bear with me. This is the first approach I've made in this sim, and the first approach I've made in a long time. None of my curves are set in the joystick, pedals, or my throttle. And this is the first time I'm using my brand new Thrustmaster pendulum pedals inside of X-Plane. So I haven't tuned them yet, and they should just work out of the box, right? But no, that's not the case. They did take a little bit of fine-tuning, and I still have to fine-tune them a little bit more. I feel like I need just a tiny bit of a curve and maybe a tiny bit of a dead zone on them, but that might just be me thinking that I need that, not reality. So we're going to be a little bit high on this one because I did not judge the distance to the airport, but we're not going to be too high. I am going to attempt to slip the aircraft, not for any other reason, but to just see how it works, and I still have to get this skill built a little bit better. That slip is not a perfect slip, not very well implemented. And that puts me all over the place as I start to get onto my final. But I pull it all back together, and when you see the replay of the landing, it's not as bad of an approach in the end as it looked. And I always intended to land a little bit long, but I intended to land right here and not on this second to last hash mark. And this is where things go a little bit south. The rudder kind of just kicks off to the left, and that's what I'm finding in this game is that when low and in ground handling, there's a lot of rotation to the left. There's a lot of yaw, and I'm wondering if that's just something that needs to be fixed in the sim. I don't have any problems with it at speed, at altitude, but low and slow, this aircraft pulls to the left a lot, and I just don't remember that in a real aircraft. It's not something I feel. And I'm thinking it's the pedals at this point, but if you're flying this sim, just let me know. Let's take another look at that approach and see what happened. And here we are, and it's actually not a bad approach. The flare's a little bit bad, but you'll see as soon as I get down into what would be the ground effect, that plane starts working to the left a lot. And I wasn't stalling. It was just something weird. And I've landed this Cessna in X-Plane 11 so many times, most of the time with the reality expansion pack, so maybe that's something I need to try. I hope it works here. But that was just a weird end to what was an okay approach. Nonetheless, we walk away from it. I'm gonna say that I'm liking this sim. I did fall in love with Flight Sim for a little bit, and I still do like it and will still play it, but I think that I'm gonna be in X-Plane for a little bit. We will have videos that go back and forth, but I'll probably be spending most of my personal time here trying to get to know it. Well, I am back. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you are looking for me to do any kind of content on this channel, I'm going to give you a heads up on what that content is going to be. It's going to be flight sims, mostly X-Plane and Flight Sim. It's going to be survival games, mostly things like Planet Crafter and maybe some Conan. I don't know. I think that's something I'm going to keep to myself. But maybe some Valheim, definitely some Satisfactory. And there will be a ton of Star Citizen, as this year Star Citizen starts to put out some of its long-awaited content like salvaging and extra star systems. All right, that's about it. I am going to take my leave of you. I really appreciate you coming back and watching my videos. And if you do like this one, please click that thumbs up button below. Be sure to subscribe and click the notify button. That way you get notified of all of my upcoming videos. And as always, comments below. Tell me what you want, tell me what you like, and I'll try to deliver content based on what you want me to do. All right, with that said, you all be safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.